Hello, I'm Kevin McTaggart, and this is WTF Watchmen, an episode of my McTaggart Attack podcast where I talk about the HBO series Watchmen, where I just give my thoughts on each episode that I watch. We're up to the seventh episode now. The seventh episode, which was called. What was it called? What was it called? It was called An Almost Religious Awe. An Almost Religious Awe is what it was called. And yeah, I think that's a good way to describe the episode. That's for sure. It was an almost religious awe, especially what we saw at the end when Angela kills Cal in air quotes and rips out that metal ring to reveal that it was actually Dr. Manhattan, that Cal was actually Dr. Manhattan the entire time. But the whole episode was crazy. Full disclosure, I had to go drive my brother-in-law, or pick up my brother-in-law from work. So I missed the 9 o'clock viewing of Watchmen. So I had to watch it at 11 o'clock, but my dad watched it at 9 o'clock, and he didn't give me any spoilers, but he thought there was a lot of weird shit in the episode. And my God, there certainly was a lot of weird stuff. If you thought episode 6 was weird, episode 7 was like even weirder. Just like, let's just go through. I like took like a bunch of notes. So like let's look at like let's start with Adrian Veidt. That's gotta be some weird shit right there. He's on trial. And they say it's like the 365th day of the trial. He's been on trial for a year. So obviously the timeline of Adrian Veidt didn't catch up to the trial, to what's going on in real time. So that's interesting right there. And the jury of his peers that the game warden wanted to have, and he just brought in a bunch of pigs and had the pigs tell him guilty, and everyone's yelling guilty, so he's guilty after that 365-day trial. Like, so that was interesting. And then Gene Smart, Laurie Blake, falls through a trap door. What a crappy trap door it was too. And the 7th Cavalry, that Senator Joe is leading the 7th Cavalry, obviously. And Don Johnson's wife is even in on it as well. As was Don Johnson. Or was he? Or was he? He probably was. I have to think that Don Johnson was probably in on it as well. But that was interesting. So apparently the Cyclops or 7th Cavalry or whatever they are, they're trying to capture Dr. Manhattan and take over him. Or what I'm assuming is, so Senator Joe doesn't want to be president. He wants to be God, which is better than president, according to most people anyway. So we know what the 7th Cavalry's plan is. And we know where Dr. Manhattan is now at the end of the episode. And Adrian Veidt with everything. With his trial. I don't know what's going on with that. And It makes me wonder, though, if Dr. Manhattan has, hidden himself, even from himself. It's just makes me think. I first thought that maybe Adrian Veidt or Jeremy Irons, as I might accidentally call him in this episode of WTF Watchmen. It made me initially think that maybe it was the 7th Cavalry that sent Adrian Veidt to that weird planet. But I'm not so sure it was. I'm thinking it could be that the 7th Cavalry or Cyclops sent him there through that dimension portal machine that they seem to have. But I also think that maybe it was Dr. Manhattan that sent Adrian Veidt there. But I don't know. So many questions. I thought it was Dr. Manhattan who sent him to that moon or wherever he is. He's on some moon. Maybe the moon. Or maybe a moon for Mars or something like that. Or Saturn's moons or something like that. I don't know. He's somewhere. That's for sure. But I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Manhattan. But after this episode, I have doubts whether it was him or was it the 7th Cavalry that did it. So those are two big questions that need to be answered before this series is over. And Looking Glass. We didn't see Looking Glass at all in this episode. But Petey, which kind of rhymes with Speedy. So you could be Lube Guy. So he definitely could be Lube Guy. Anyway, but that's not what I was talking about. When he went to Looking Glass's house and saw all those dead 7th Cavalry guys there, one without a mask, that makes me think that maybe Looking Glass is masquerading as one of them to try and save the day or something. That's what I have to think. Because I have to think that they're going to try and kill Cal or Dr. Manhattan. And because you could see that they were out there in the car. And I wonder what's going to happen with that. That's a question too. But what side is Looking Glass actually on? Is he with the 7th Cavalry? Does he know all of the 7th Cavalry's plans? Or maybe he does, and he just is going along with it. But maybe he's not going along with it. Maybe he's a hero in this, but maybe he's not a hero in this. So many questions. And we didn't see Louis Gossett Jr. at all in this episode either. But we thought for most of the episode that Angela was hooked up to him. But she wasn't. She was hooked up to some big elephant, which I don't understand at all. Why was she hooked up to an elephant? It's just strange. And so, let's see. Is that all the questions that I have? Well, Lady True. So, her daughter is not her daughter. Her daughter is her mother. But her daughter is taking nostalgia. Because her mother is going to become her mother, but yeah. She's just giving her mother nostalgia pills slowly but surely, which is the way to take nostalgia pills, not the way that Angela took the nostalgia pills. But yeah, Angela's story was interesting, because that's what we saw. A lot of her memories we saw when her parents died when she was 10 years old. We saw when her grandmother, who was Louis Gossett Jr.'s wife, we thought she was going to live with her, but then she died right then and there at the taxi cab. So we still don't know about Angela's upbringing. I have to think Dr. Manhattan would be involved with that, though. I don't know. all very interesting. Lots of questions. And there's only 2 episodes left now. And we don't even know. I tried looking it up last night if there's going to be a second season. But there may not be a second season. But I'm assuming they're going to answer all of their questions in these 9 episodes. At least they better. Or at least most of the important questions. I think that's all I have for notes. But it's just such a weird... It's a weird, lovely, well done, spectacular show. And I'm just interested in it, and it's so great, and I hope everyone else who watches this show is interested in it too. Why don't you email me your opinions of Watchmen? Have you watched the episodes? If you have, send me an email at McTaggartAttack@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at KevMcT. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at McTaggart Attack. And you can also find the Facebook page for the McTaggart Attack podcast, which is, of course, on Facebook. Alright, that's all I've got for this episode. Thank you very much for listening to WTF Wednesday. WTF Watchmen. Yeah. What was I going to say? Thank you for listening. Share it with your friends or your enemies. Just share it. And thank you so much for the downloads. And that's the bottom line if you smell what the McTaggart Attack podcast is cooking.